Well, hello, everybody. Last night, we tried to do a live online youth leaders forum. A whole bunch of you logged into that, but unfortunately, so did some people that we didn't want to be there, and so we had to cut that short. That was really unfortunate, not just because of the content that those people were putting in our direction, but also because we didn't get to learn from one another, and we didn't get to hear from Shaun and Andy. And so we thought, as a bit of a substitute, it's unfortunate that we don't get to talk and ask questions and all learn together, but as a little bit of a substitute for the time being, while we work out how to do a shared learning experience in a better way, we just have a little conversation with Shaun and Andy right now. So hi, Shaun. Hi, Andy. Why don't
Hi,
mate. Tell us who you are. Tell us where you do youth ministry locally. And of course, you're both on the Limitless team as well. Having different roles within that, so you can mention that too. So, Shaun, let's start with you.
Yeah, so my name's Shaun. I'm part of a church called Rediscover Church, which is in Exeter, which is a place where God lives, wonderful place. And
my place of birth, Shaun.
Your place of birth, it is indeed. A wonderful place. Yes, I've been here 7 years. Lead the youth and young adults ministry here, as well as evangelism. And just love working with young people, even within this crazy time now, as we've moved to kind of like an online platform, which is what we've launched. So, yeah.
And of course, part of the Limitless Festival team, helping us with our youth venue there. Fantastic. And Andy?
Yeah, my name's Andy. I'm part of LifeCentral Church. So we're one church in 3 locations in Halesowen, Hagley and Raleigh, which is all just on the edge of Birmingham. My role is I'm the next gen pastor. So I oversee a team of people delivering kids, youth and young adults ministry and a gap year programme. And I'm part of the Limitless directional team, which is a lot of fun. And love what I do. Been there 8 years, originally from Liverpool, which is the actual place where God lives, and God was born. That's not theologically correct, but anyway, we'll slide over that. Happy to be here, Tim.
Great, thanks, guys. And we're here because there's a little something called the coronavirus going around, and that means that we're all locked in to our homes right now, and so are our young people. So all of those things that are our defaults for youth ministry, all of those things we've taken for granted for so many years, most of which involve meeting in person, whether that is for small group Bible studies in homes, whether that's for larger youth gatherings or youth church or youth clubs, or even for one-to-one mentoring. It's all about contact, like personal contact with young people, and that has been ruled out in these days. So we're having a little exploration about what have you guys been trying, what have you been experimenting with and exploring to stay in touch with your young people, to continue that journey of pastoral care and discipleship with them. Now, we don't have all the answers. We're just a few guys who are trying our best, but hopefully this will be a conversation that gets those of you who are watching on thinking, and there'll be some helpful little tips and advice as well. So, Shaun, we're gonna start with you. What has youth ministry looked like for you since this whole COVID-19 pandemic kicked off?
Yeah, great. So it's obviously it's been an interesting time of just really exploring creative ways to still connect with young people and make sure community and families at the heart of kind of what we do. I think within the first few days, I was on the phone with Andy and we were kind of sharing ideas and fleshing things out instantly. I've been on the phone to a few other people around the UK as well, just learning from them. And we decided what we was going to do is obviously we're going to kind of launch our Rediscover Youth onto an online kind of platform. So we launched a thing called RDY Online. We created a little website for that, a little website link, which just gave some real clear headlines to what we wanted to do. And we wanted to give some real pinpoints to our young people and their families, their parents, of where they would find us and where would be a safe place for young people to engage online. So that's what we've done. That's involved social media accounts being birthed. It's involved Zoom being used. It's involved some social hangouts online. It's involved using things that are already out there, YouVersion Bible studies. It's involved using some content out there. Been using some of the Limitless stuff and pushing that out as well, and just trying to create as many spaces as possible for young people to engage with the church locally and as a community.
Fantastic. Now, you've been using Zoom. What I would love for you to do is give us some top tips for using Zoom, including, as we've learned all too well, making sure that your Zoom calls are password protected. It's probably worth me saying at this point, actually, that the Live Online Youth Leaders Forum was intentionally not password protected, because if it was, that would have limited the number of people who could have engaged with it to the youth leaders we have on our direct databases. And there were a lot of youth leaders who joined us last night who weren't. Unfortunately, we weren't anticipating, obviously, people who had no interest in youth ministry joining us as well. But we all have contact details for our young people and the parents of our young people, which means we can do password protected Zoom meetings, which will avoid some of the stuff that happened on the Youth Leaders Forum happening. But so give us some top tips, Shaun. And then what I would love for you to do is tell me what a session looks like on Zoom. So what kind of games have you done? What kind of content Bible study have you done, conversation have you done, and how have you facilitated that? Give us your best tips.
Great. Yeah. So first thing you need to do once you've got a Zoom account is specifically go through these settings and advanced settings just to make sure that you've got it to where you're at. There's some real good tutorials on YouTube, online, that help kind of share and show you what you want to do. You can do the password protecting. We've actually not done that as a youth group. The reason why we've not done that is because we've actually kept our link private. So we've been hitting our social media saying, hey, we're doing Zoom tonight. If you want to be part of it, you have to direct message us on our youth account specifically. And then what we've done is we've just individually passed that out. With every message we've passed that out, we've just said, hey, we'd appreciate if you didn't share this. So that's what we've done. That's another way. Obviously, if you wanted to put it out there publicly, then password protect it. But effectively, it's the same filter. They're still going to have to message you for the password. So either of those two kind of safeguard that kind of intrusion from people you don't want on there. Creating a co-host is really good as well. It just helps balance out the management of the account whilst you're in there. They'll have the same kind of power as you do as the host of the call. And then going through the screen settings, one of the things that I have is I've taken off screen share. So I'm the only one that can do some form of a screen share, which means any of my young people can't screen share anything I don't want them to do, et cetera, et cetera. There's loads of settings. In terms of what we do, we've done 2 so far, both work really well.
Shaun, can I just jump in there? So loads of the features that we're talking about here is on a paid Zoom account, isn't it? So you have to subscribe. So one of the first things that we talked about as a church, because finance is going to be a challenge going forward for churches of any size, we cut all non-essential spending. But what we've looked at is actually, in order to be able to do what we do, or in order to be able to continue to engage with young people, we've had to pay for a Zoom account. So that you can subscribe. It's about £12 a month, isn't it, for the basic one?
It is, yeah.
And then you can pay for bigger groups. But most youth groups will be able to fit within the parameters of the first step on that ladder, really.
Yeah, the free one as well, it only allows you to go, I think, for 40 minutes a call. It'll cut you off after that as well. So if you're using a free account, you do have a limited amount of time you can use on there, whereas a paid one, you pretty much have unlimited time on there as well.
But do you think it would be worth for a youth leader wondering if Zoom would be a good format for them, having a go using the free account, and if it works, then going to the smallest paid account?
Definitely.
Yeah, that's a great way to test it, yeah.
Another good thing is what we did is our first Zoom since this pandemic happened was just with our team. So we practiced all the kind of logistics, all the features, the breakout room, the screen share, just with our team as a safe place. And we kind of hosted it with, do you think this would work with our young people to start off with? And we came to the conclusion that it would.
Fantastic. That's really helpful. Shaun, talk us through a session then.
Yeah. Really quickly, we are doing different things. We're testing out different things. One of the things we're going to be doing in the coming weeks, we're going to do I know Andy will speak on this. It's kind of something that you do. We'll do a live stream kind of sermon and then do Zoom stuff afterwards. But some of our stuff that we've been doing recently is we start off with some games, some classic games that work really well. Bring Me is a real easy game just to start off with. So that's having a list of items. Everyone's on call, mute them all apart from yourself. And effectively you are asking them to bring you a set item like a Bible or a pen or a sock. We've spiced it up. We've obviously got kind of consent from parents as well. And one of the things that we've done is we've just kind of said, okay, make sure your bedroom door's open. You're going to be running downstairs at the moment to get something from the fridge, or you need to go get your dad's left sock or something like that. And that's caused a whole load of fun. People are sprinting around the house trying to grab things, which
they
is...
bring it back to the screen, and the first one to show it on the screen gets the point.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
So we have our team just eyes on, just waiting for the first person to kind of show the item. Then we keep a tally, and we have kind of some prizes for winners as well. For those that win, that's one thing. We've done Kahoot challenges online, which is really good with a screen share. We've created some kind of personal Kahoot ones, work really well. So we kind of did a RDY Kahoot quiz. That was about
briefly, Shaun, for those who haven't used it. We tried that in our youth group as well. It worked really nicely, but yeah, go for that.
So Kahoot is just a platform on there that you can effectively create an account on there, and you can host a quiz where everyone is hitting a button basically on their phones as quick as they can to answer the questions as quick as they can. And that works really well. We did a personal one where we had questions about people from the team, or questions about people within the youth group, etc., etc. And people were just kind of flying through their questions. And at the end, it tells you who is not only the best answers, but the quickest answers. So it kind of gives points based on how quick you answer it, but also if you've got the answer correct as well. So that's a real good fun way. And again, screen share just allows you to pop that up and everyone can see it and everyone's following along, playing. And that can take easily, 15, 20 minutes if you were wanting to, with everyone having a whole load of fun.
Great. We did with our, sorry, Tim, we did with our staff team today, we did bingo. So I've downloaded a bingo app on my iPad and just screen shared and got all of the staff team to write down 12 numbers between 1 and 90, because the odds of people writing down the same 12 numbers are unreal. So we did that, and it was loads of fun, really good fun. So we probably
used, Andy.
It's just called Bingo Machine on an iPad.
I mean, I think if one thing that comes out of this is that we get young people playing bingo, that would be positive.
We've done it. We've reached the goals.
Yeah. So you live stream a bit of a talk. You have a game. What happens next, Shaun?
We do little conversations. So our first night, we had an open, honest conversation about coronavirus, and asked for people to, we put everyone on mute, and we effectively just said, hey, if you want to share at any point, just put your hand up to the camera, or hit a little raise hand item on Zoom as well. And we just allowed space really for young people to just share their concerns, their worries, their fears, whether they feel like it's overplayed. And we just wanted to specifically kind of get, actually, what do our young people think about this, rather than just assuming. And that's what we did, and it worked really well. We had people sharing scripture. We had people preaching really about the stuff that's going on. And then we rounded it up with just like a little thought in the coming weeks. And then our second week, we did talk about, obviously, most of our year 11s having their final year cut short. And we did, again, an open discussion just based on, hey, how are you feeling about this with your school ending? And we rounded off again with some scripture and just like here's some thoughts maybe you can think about going ahead. And we've also set challenges for the next week, which has worked really well. So we did a thing called a Corona challenge, which is really weird, but we effectively asked a young person to, after the call on a Tuesday night, spend 20 minutes just thinking about one thing they could do every day for someone in their home. And that worked really well. We had testimonies next week of just some young person promised to make a cup of tea or coffee for the parents every day. Some young people were saying, okay, I want to get up early and try help with breakfast and their younger siblings and stuff. We had a lot of people, our older young people specifically, saying, okay, I want to look after, I've got a 6-year-old, 7-year-old little brother who's driving my parents insane, and I'm going to make sure I take him and look after him an hour a day, and different things like that. And then last week we did a TikTok challenge, which is just a social fun thing. And we said, hey, the funniest TikTok is going to get a prize, and we would get in contact with the parents. We'd send them a prize to their home, just like a chocolate bar in the post or something like that. And
so Shaun, just again for any youth leaders, I mean, I'm sure most of us are, because it's kind of gone crazy, but who are not familiar with TikTok, just briefly explain TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok's just a social media app and platform at the moment where you create short little videos, and there's loads of dances and stuff like that. It's not something that I've got my own account with. I'm learning about even what it is.
Yeah, whatever, mate.
I'd like to see you do a TikTok dance.
I tell you, I could do it quite well. And so we set a challenge, and we had some hilarious little videos. Actually, a lot of them are themed around the coronavirus and all kinds of stuff, which is just funny. And we did a social crew the other day, which is a social hangout. We actually had breakfast together at 10:30 a.m. And one of the things we did is we actually went through the TikToks live and we watched them all together, and it was just funny just seeing some of the stuff.
Great ideas. Yeah. So for one of your sessions, you do a Tuesday night, don't you, Shaun?
Yeah.
From start to finish, how long are you talking for an online session?
An hour and 15 minutes is what we try to cap it to. Our youth nights on a Tuesday night when we're together are actually really long. I think we're from like 6:30 through to 9. So we have a long space on Tuesday nights, but we decided from an online platform, actually for the young people's benefit as well, we wanted to model that actually you can use the internet really well, but it has to be done in kind of controlled and safe spaces. So because we've now got young people just living online again, and we want to help with that as well. So that's something we're thinking about.
Great. And Andy, for you, when you're doing an online session, start to finish, how long would you take?
We're 7:30 till 9, but we kind of the actual content of the session, the young people are signing on from 7:30, but we start about 7:40, 7:45. So it's probably similar timing to Shaun. And we do an online debrief with all of our team as well. So we set up a separate Zoom conversation. So all the young people leave, we sign out, and then we sign into another conversation, and that's just leaders, and we can all feedback on how we found the session and how our individual groups went as well.
Yeah, don't neglect the debrief in these times where everything's new and we're trying new things. It's important that we do that anyway, isn't it, our youth ministries? But in these times, particularly, really, really important. Okay, well, before we move on from Zoom, it's probably important to say, isn't it, that anybody who wants to have a go at this stuff, you've just got to make sure you've got parental consent for any kind of video calls that you're going to do with young people. We have got a consent form template, an online youth ministry consent form template, as well as a safeguarding document, which anybody's welcome to have a look at and download, which you can find at elim.org.uk/safeguarding. So that's there for you to download if that's helpful. Andy, tell us about some other things that you've been trying in your youth ministry.
Yeah, well, one of the things that we are doing for Sundays, so our Sunday content, our church service is live streamed, and normally those that are year 10 and above stay in the service. So we continue to encourage our kind of 14 plus guys to be engaging with the live stream service. But for all of our kids and youth, we're using recorded videos. So we subscribe to a resource called our Orange Curriculum, or Think Orange it's called. And they give us video resources, but you can record a talk. And what we're doing is we're putting those on YouTube, and we're sending those links to the relevant parents. So all the year 7 to year 9 student young people, their parents get a link to the teaching video, and they get an attachment, which is the discussion questions, which is the content of what we would do on a Sunday normally in the kids and youth groups. But what I've done is I've sent out communication to all of our parents, kids and young people's parents, saying, we want you to operate on these 3 principles: watch it together, discuss it together, and pray together. And I've effectively welcomed all of our parents and guardians to the Next Gen team, so that like one of our key priorities in our Next Gen department at LifeCentral has been to better collaborate with parents for the spiritual development of their child. And what this virus and this unfortunate situation has done for us is it's enabled us to say, hey, parents, here's the resources, here's all the discussion questions, here's some things to pray about. Like, what a brilliant opportunity to build a family rhythm of learning together, discussing it together, and praying about it together. So we've really tried to encourage that. So if you're not subscribed to a video resource, you could record your own talk on a phone and email it out to parents as a link with a bunch of discussion questions and some practical ideas that you can do. And just to say on the like Zoom calls midweek, we use the breakout rooms because we're a little bit bigger. So on Wednesday we had around about 70 young people tune in. I preached live, and then we put everybody into breakout rooms, which is a Zoom feature, and that got all of our young people down to groups of around about 6 or 10. And that was loads of fun then, because you're having discussion. And what was brilliant is my group is all of the kind of 16 to 18s, or half of the 16 to 18 year olds, and all the girls started doing face masks whilst we were discussing. So I'm trying to lead like a pastoral discussion around what we talked about and say, what can we pray for? And like I've got girls like that doing face masks to the camera, which gave a whole new side of youth ministry, and I was learning about face masks, which was quite interesting. I might join them next week.
Yeah. And I should say, speaking about family rhythms, there you may have heard the farmer in the dell being sung in the background, or you may have heard some Iron Man noises, because just in that moment, both of my children decided to pop in and see what was happening. But this is the new reality when we're working from home and we don't have a home office, isn't it? So
you'll be like that guy who was on BBC News when his family came in the background.
That was amazing. Fantastic. Well, we don't want to keep this too long because obviously we're going to be putting this to YouTube, but any other just top tips, maybe some things that you tried and didn't go so well, or adjusted, that it's worth, some pitfalls that people should be aware of, or just one or two other things that you've tried that have been really helpful. If you can say that, in a concise way, a few final thoughts would be really helpful.
Yeah, we've tried to up our social media game. So we're trying to put out either something fun or something like devotional wise. And so yesterday I did an Instagram live with a few of our leaders, so you can do the picture in picture. And we just did like song requests with our worship pastor. We did like emoji impressions and just had a bit of fun really, and tried to just lighten the mood.
Just on that, Andy, for anybody who's not used Instagram Live, you can broadcast two people at the same time. So you can have, we've tried this in our youth groups. You can have two team members, can't you, interacting, but then you can have your young people interacting via the text chat and commenting as well. So that's another cool thing to try.
Yeah, so that worked really well. That was a lot of fun.
Brilliant. And Shaun?
One of the things that we struggled with in regards to the first few weeks is we realised that our young people still wanted to invite their friends online. And that's something that we had to think about quite quickly. So we were having young people saying, oh, my friend from school has got nothing to do as well, and he wants to come online and wants to be part of the group. And obviously we were then thinking about, actually, we need to help this conversation now as well in regards to how do we encourage our young people to remain missionally engaged even in the time of isolation. So we've obviously thought of some kind of safeguarding procedures as well, which are aligned with what you guys are going to reach out as well with Limitless. YFC have got some really good stuff online there with that. But one of the things that I would encourage as just like a thing is just for us still to remain actually evangelistically and missionally orientated in this time. Our greatest concern at the moment is to try and kind of care for those that are in our flock. And that's absolutely right. It's a pastor's heart. It's what we should be doing. But at the same time, we are in a real unique place to be able to get the gospel out there. And I've been thinking so much just about how can I actually give helpful tips for my young people to engage with their friends, to engage with family from a missional perspective here, using the online platforms and resources that are coming out left, right, and centre at the moment. So that's one of the things that I would just remind youth workers to think about, as well as their pastoral care and looking after their youth groups that they're involved with.
Yeah. Absolutely, Shaun. And I think I would add on top of that is something our lead pastor's been saying to us, like, when this is all over, people won't remember the quality of the content that we put out. People probably won't remember what we teach them. People will remember, did they care for me? Did they connect with me? Were they there when I was finding it tough? And I think for all of us as youth pastors, we have to continue, because we have to continue to try and connect and look after young people, because my biggest concern is not whether my young people get the coronavirus. My biggest concern is the impact on their mental health. And so So I want to be there, and I want my team to be there for young people when they're struggling, when they've got questions, when they're finding it hard. We want to continue to engage. So in one sense, don't stress too much about the quality of what you're putting out. Think about the quality of the relationship that you can leverage via the online tools that we've got to hand.
Brilliant.
That's great, and that's a great note to finish on. You know, it's community over content, isn't it? At this point, it's being there, it's being present, it's being in that space, it's letting our young people know that we love them and that we're there and available, and finding a way. And I think a lot of this is just about finding a way, isn't it? We're going to try some things that don't work, and that's okay. But
absolutely.
Better to give it a go than just to kind of give up and think, oh, we're going to have to wait it out until this all passes by. Now we want to take this challenge head on, don't we? And do whatever we can to stay connected with our young people. And Shaun, as you rightly pointed out, to make the most of the missional opportunity. You know, I'll finish with this thought. I saw Phil Knox, formerly of Youth for Christ, tweet the other day an article from ITV News, and it said that the headline was, I'm not quoting exactly, but the headline was something to the effect of the church attendance doubles in a single week. And I just thought, wow, you know, none of us would ever have asked for this. Coronavirus, you know, certainly we know that a lot of people are dying, and it's an awful thing, you know, that it's an awful thing. There's no getting around that. And yet perhaps some great things for the kingdom of God could come out of this. So let's keep going. Let's keep trying. Let's keep failing and learning and growing as we do. Shaun, Andy, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. For everybody watching, we'll try and find another way to have a shared learning experience. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But until next time, keep going, keep loving and serving your young people. You're doing a great job, and what you're doing is so important. So don't give up, and God bless.